be a firefight. You know, for all the promotion, for all the nonsense, for all the crap, you've got two fighters here. Might not be for a world title, but if you want to see a scrap, you're going to see one, because these two like to fight. Look at their careers. They are the fighters. They are the brawlers. They love it. And they only know one way. And that's what's going to happen on April 26th. They're going to meet in the ring, in the center of the ring, and they're going to go off. And that's why the casual fans are going to love this fight.
Ben Shalom isn't pulling punches here. He's setting the stage for a battle, not just a fight. Forget the fluff, the titles, and the endless talk. This is about two warriors, two gladiators who only know one speed, full throttle. Their entire careers have been defined by aggression, and when they step into the ring on April 26th, there won't be any soft touches. It's going to be a head-on collision, a war from the very first bell. No warm-ups, no feeling-out process. The moment that first punch lands, expect the ring to erupt into madness. This isn't just a fight. It's a spectacle that will turn heads and set arenas on fire. The real question isn't whether they'll go to war. It's which one.
I think it'll be a mismatch, you know, just as much a mismatch as the presses have been. It will be a similar format, you know, playing out in the physical. Chris is way too much, and that will become evident as the rounds go on in the fight.
Will crumble first under the heat. Prepare for a firefight, because this one isn't going to the scorecards. Meanwhile, Harlem Eubank isn't holding back his thoughts on the potential showdown, and he doesn't mince words about it. He's calling it a clear mismatch. From the press conferences alone, the difference between the two fighters was striking, and Harlem believes that once they step into the ring, the gap will become even more apparent. Chris's superior physical presence is hard to ignore, and Harlem believes that will be the defining factor. As the rounds progress, Harlem expects Chris's dominance to take over, with his power and strength proving too much for his opponent to handle. His prediction? A one-sided affair, with Chris
I think the difficulty for Conor Benn in this fight is the weight and is the size. I think he's a better fighter. And I think at a natural weight class, he's a big favourite in the fight. But coming up two weight classes, it makes it a 50-50 fight.
Walking through his opponent in dominant fashion. But of course, the burning question remains, will the fight unfold exactly as Harlem anticipates, or could a shocking upset be lurking around the corner? The stakes are sky high, and the tension is palpable. Eddie Hearn pulls no punches in his assessment. Conor Benn is stepping into a perilous situation, and the biggest challenge he faces isn't just skill, it's size. Moving up two weight classes is no small feat. It's a complete shift in the dynamics of the fight. At his natural weight, Ben would be the clear favorite, but now he's entering the ring on level ground, where every moment is a potential game changer. Physicality, power, and endurance will all be critical factors, and they undeniably.
Eubank Jr. is a tough man, and Conor Benn is an animal with a hot head. And as soon as that bell goes, you've only got to watch Nigel Benn's fights and Conor Benn's fights in his career so far to realise he's going to set about him from the first bell. And no one's giving in.
Undeniably favor the bigger man. One slip-up, one wrong move, and Ben could find himself in deep trouble. With both fighters packing knockout power, this clash is one where no one can afford to blink. The burning question is, can Ben overcome the size disadvantage, adapt, and prove he belongs, or will this move expose the limits of his power? It's a high-risk fight, and that's exactly what makes it so thrilling. Eddie Hearn isn't holding back. Conor Benn is a beast in the ring, a relentless force with an intensity that few can match. But will that be enough when facing a physically superior opponent? The fight world is watching closely, and no matter how it unfolds, this bout is guaranteed to deliver fireworks. Drop your predictions in the comments below, and don't forget to.
Eubank Jr. is his own man, and that's what he's always tried to make out. This is me, this is my career, and this is how I do things. Dad, that was your era, that was your time, blah, 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 let me do this. But I'm sure he'd love to have him sat ringside watching him.
Like and subscribe for more explosive boxing updates. The moment the bell rings, all control is lost. Pure chaos erupts. Ben doesn't hesitate. He doesn't waste time feeling out his opponent or waiting for the perfect moment. He charges straight into the storm, overwhelming his adversaries with explosive speed and relentless pressure. It's a strategy that has defined both his career and his father's legendary bouts. But the critical question remains, will this same intensity be effective against a bigger, stronger opponent? Charging in from the start is a high-risk, high-reward approach, but against the wrong adversary, it could lead to a devastating counterattack. This fight is all about control. Who establishes dominance first and forces their will upon the other? Can Ben's ferocity break his opponent, or will he walk into a trap?
Conor's his dad's son, and his dad's exactly the same. And the Eubanks and the Benns, they know each other's strengths and weaknesses. And so there'll always be that family rivalry going on. And Chris's aloof personality, riles Conor, like his dad did, with their dads did. So he knows exactly what he's got to do.
That ends in disaster. One thing is certain, the judges will not be needed for this bout. Meanwhile, Joe Gallagher has strong opinions on Chris Eubank Jr.'s relentless pursuit of independence. Eubank Jr. is determined to carve out his own legacy, separate from his father's shadow, no matter the cost. But here's the twist. Despite his outward defiance, there is an unspoken need for validation. He won't openly admit it, but having his father in his corner, witnessing his triumphs, would mean everything to him. It's the uncomfortable truth few are willing to address. Yet, the question persists. Can Eubank Jr. truly reach the pinnacle of the sport without that support? Or is he secretly battling against the burden of his own history?
A good thing sometimes to have a little bit of weight to train off. Not a lot, but and I think that's what Eubank's got, whereas Conor is already at the weight, or there or thereabouts. So that's also a benefit in the sense like he can now just completely fuel his training and fuel his performance. But it's always going to favour the bigger man. It's always going to favour the bigger man. But age is the biggest factor for me in this fight.
The pressure has never been greater, and the time for proving himself is now. This fight extends beyond boxing. It's about identity, legacy, and a battle waged far beyond the ropes. With the clock ticking, the most formidable challenge of his career is upon him. Johnny Nelson, for his part, doesn't hold back when assessing Conor Benn, making it clear that the fighter has crossed a dangerous line. Benn has ignited controversy with reckless comments and behavior that Nelson cannot overlook. His actions outside the ring have cast a shadow over his reputation, leaving fans and analysts divided over his character. On the other hand, when Nelson evaluates Chris Eubank Jr., he offers a stark contrast, praising the fighter for his unwavering dedication.
I'm also very close with Conor Benn. He's a good pal of mine, so it's very hard for me to sort of sit back and say this or say that. I think they're doing a fantastic job in selling their fight. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. They both obviously have the needle with each other, and they're both going to give it everything. So be prepared for war, and I hope they get out of the ring safe and sound.
And consistency. He sees Eubank Jr. as a man focused solely on his career, undistracted by the noise that often derails others. This divide is clear. To Nelson, Eubank Jr. is locked in, committed, and determined, while Benn appears to be caught up in unnecessary drama that detracts from his true potential. The real question now is whether Benn can silence the distractions and let his performance do the talking. Or will the chaos that surrounds him become his downfall when it matters most? As fight night approaches, the stakes have never been higher. The battle is about more than just skill and power. It's about proving who belongs at the top, who can withstand the pressure, and who will emerge with their legacy in...
No, we are on good terms. I don't believe he didn't know about it.
No,
if
you know I didn't know.
No, I don't, because I think you're a little bit snaky.
No, you know I didn't know.
No.
Don't talk.
No. Quiet, because
no.
You
can't say things.
No, stop, because then I'll take you through. Listen, I've been very nice to you lately.
You can't say things.
And I've been very nice to you lately. I've given you a big education in the last couple of weeks. I've told you were very lucky to be talking to me. Right. But we do get on well. We actually have a bit of banter. He actually, if you don't mind me saying, he was asking me potentially to go and box his ball.
Yeah, it was a
the other
good
night.
joke.
Intact. Shane McGann highlights the strategic advantage of Chris Eubank Jr. carrying extra weight during training, a tactic that plays in his favor. According to McGann, the added weight functions as a tool to build strength, providing resistance that enhances Eubank Jr.'s conditioning and power. In contrast, Conor Benn is already close to his fight weight, prioritizing technique refinement and fine-tuning his training. While this may seem like a sound approach, McGann argues that in a matchup like this, the bigger fighter often holds the advantage. Beyond weight, McGann also identifies age as a critical factor in this fight. While Benn might possess superior conditioning, Eubank Jr.'s age and experience.
Really, I mean, I didn't know he was going to pull an egg out of his pocket and slap it around his head, but, you know, it was always going to be some form of drama. And yeah, it was always going to happen. It spiced it up. Like I say, I wasn't really surprised by it. You know, maybe a little bit stupid, maybe not a little bit stupid. You know, maybe there was going to be something that's going to happen. Was it going to be Conor Benn? Was it going to be Chris Eubank Jr.? But I think that shows you the rivalry between these.
Could be the deciding factor in terms of stamina and recovery. Both fighters have clear strengths, but when it comes down to the final rounds, age and physicality might ultimately determine the victor in this high-stakes battle. Meanwhile, Tommy Welch acknowledges the difficulty of remaining neutral in the upcoming showdown between Eubank Jr. and Benn. Given his close ties to both fighters, Benn having trained at his gym and a strong personal bond with both men, Welch finds it incredibly challenging to pick a side. Despite his personal connections, he recognizes the intensity and deep-rooted rivalry that has built up between the two fighters, setting the stage for an explosive encounter in the ring. Welch doesn't shy away from making a bold statement. This fight will be nothing short of a war. Both men have everything to prove, and with emotions running high, they will push themselves to their absolute limits. The animosity between them only fuels the tension further, and Welch expects this battle to be not just about skill, but also about sheer willpower and pride. His only hope is that both fighters emerge from the ring unscathed after giving their all in one of the most highly anticipated fights of the year. Adding another layer to the brewing tension, Adam Smith has been vocal about his frustrations regarding the situation. Despite being on seemingly good terms with the other party, Smith isn't convinced by the claims of ignorance surrounding recent events. He quickly calls out what he perceives as a sneaky attitude, making it clear that he doesn't buy into the idea that the other party was unaware of the developments. His irritation is evident as he admits to having been overly accommodating, only to be met with dismissals and subtle disregard. However, Smith also injects humor into the situation. Despite the underlying tension, he shares some of the light-hearted exchanges between himself and the other party, proving that even in the midst of drama, there's room for laughter. He even jokingly suggests joining them on Box as B, a remark that leaves fans wondering whether it was just an offhand comment or something more. The complexity of the relationship between the involved parties remains, leaving many questions unanswered. Spencer Oliver, on the other hand, wasn't entirely surprised by the bizarre turn of events, but admits that the way things spiraled into chaos caught him off guard. Drama was expected, especially considering the built-up tension between Benn and Eubank Jr., but the unexpected egg slap incident took the feud to another level. Oliver bluntly describes the egg slap as ridiculous, but acknowledges that it perfectly encapsulates the fierce, personal nature of the rivalry. This fight was never going to be just about boxing. It runs much deeper. The egg incident wasn't random, rather, it symbolized the years of animosity brewing between the two fighters. Benn and Eubank Jr. have been circling each other for years, and now, with emotions at a boiling point, an eruption was inevitable. The slap only heightened the hostility, turning what was once a battle of pride into a full-blown war. The real question now is just how far each fighter is willing to go. One thing is certain. This rivalry is only getting uglier, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Fans are left wondering what will unfold next as the countdown to the fight continues. With both fighters refusing to back down, the world will be watching to see who walks away victorious. What's your take on this explosive matchup? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.